You get a text. It's vague, it's slightly cold. And instantly, your mind explodes into a full investigation. What did they mean by that? Are they mad at me? Did I do something wrong? Should I respond now or wait? Should I apologize or play it cool? Within 60 seconds, you've created an entire narrative. A problem that might not even exist. A conflict you're now emotionally invested in. And somehow, you can't let it go. This is drama, not the reality TV kind. The mental kind. The kind that turns small moments into emotional hurricanes. The kind that makes you replay conversations for hours. The kind that keeps you awake at 3 a.m. arguing with someone who isn't even there. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Your brain loves it, craves it, even. Not because you're broken or toxic or dramatic by nature, but because your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It's just doing it in a world that no longer needs that wiring. Let me explain. Thousands of years ago, your ancestors lived in a very different world. A world where noticing threats meant survival, where reading into small signals, a footprint, a sound, a shift in someone's behavior could save your life. Your brain developed what we call a negativity bias. It learned to focus on potential threats, to amplify danger signals, to treat every unknown as a possible risk. Because the ancestor who ignored the rustling in the bushes, they didn't pass on their genes. But the ancestor who assumed every rustle was a predator, they lived long enough to become your great-great-great-grandmother. Fast forward to today, you're not scanning the savannah for predators. You're scrolling through texts and emails and social media posts. But your brain is still running that ancient software. So when someone's tone seems off, your brain treats it like a threat. When a message is vague, your brain fills in the gaps, usually with worst-case scenarios. And those stories? They're almost always dramatic. Because dramatic stories demand attention. They create urgency. They make you feel like you need to act now, fix it now, resolve it now. Here's what's really happening. Your brain releases stress hormones when it perceives a threat. Even a social threat. Cortisol, adrenaline. And these chemicals do something interesting. They make you feel alive. Alert, important. Drama gives you an adrenaline hit. And like any hit, it's addictive. I learned this the hard way. A few years ago, I was in a constant state of emotional reactivity. Someone would say something neutral, and I'd find the criticism. A friend would cancel plans, and I'd spiral into, they're pulling away from me. A work email would arrive without exclamation points, and I'd convince myself I was about to be fired. I wasn't living in reality. I was living in my brain's dramatized version of reality. And the exhausting part? I genuinely believed I was just being perceptive, aware, reading between the lines. I thought I was seeing what others missed. But I wasn't seeing more clearly. I was projecting fear onto neutral situations and calling it intuition. So what changed? I discovered something that completely shifted how my brain. First, ambiguity. Your brain hates uncertainty. It would rather create a negative story than sit with not knowing. So when something is unclear, it automatically fills in the blanks. And those blanks are rarely filled with optimism. Someone says we need to talk. Your brain doesn't wait for context. It immediately assumes the worst. You're in trouble, they're upset. Something's wrong. But here's the reality. We need to talk could mean anything. It could be good news. It could be neutral. It could be nothing important at all. But your brain doesn't wait for data. It creates drama to feel in control. Second, perceived rejection. Your brain is hypersensitive to anything that feels like social exclusion. Because for your ancestors, exclusion from the tribe meant death. So your brain developed an incredibly sensitive rejection alarm. And in modern life, that alarm is going off constantly. Someone doesn't text back immediately? Rejection. Someone's reply is shorter than yours? Rejection. Someone doesn't laugh at your joke? Rejection. Your brain turns normal social variation into evidence of abandonment, not because you're insecure, but because your alarm system is calibrated for ancient threats. Third, emotional contagion. Your brain mirrors the emotions of people around you. It's why you feel tense when someone else is angry, why you feel anxious when someone else is stressed. This was useful when you needed to read the room for danger. But now, it means you absorb other people's drama like a sponge. You walk into a room, sense tension, and suddenly you're on edge, even when the tension has nothing to do with you. You become a participant in drama that isn't even yours. So here's the question. If your brain is wired for drama, are you just stuck with it? No, because here's what most people don't realize. You can rewire the pattern. Not by suppressing emotion, not by pretending nothing bothers you, but by creating a circuit breaker between trigger and reaction. I call it the 3-second rule, and it's deceptively simple. When something triggers your drama response, a text, a comment, a situation, you pause for 3 seconds before you react. Not 3 minutes, not 3 hours, just 3 seconds. In those 3 seconds, you do one thing. You name what you're feeling without judgment. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling rejected. I'm feeling defensive. That's it, no story, no explanation, just the raw emotion. Here's why this works. When you name an emotion, you activate the prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain. This immediately reduces activity in the amygdala, the drama center. Neuroscientists call this affect labeling, but you can just call it the pause that saves you from unnecessary drama. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. You get that vague text. We need to talk. Your heart rate spikes. Drama brain wants to spiral immediately, but instead, you pause 3 seconds. I'm feeling anxious. You breathe. And suddenly, there's space between the trigger and your response. In that space, you can choose. You can choose to ask for clarity instead of assuming the worst. Sure, what's up? 3 months later, he told me this. I still feel the triggers, but now there's space. And in that space, I remember that most of what I'm reacting to isn't real. It's just my brain doing its old survival routine. He didn't eliminate drama, he just stopped feeding it. Because here's the final truth about drama. It only grows when you feed it. Every time you react without pausing, you strengthen that neural pathway. Every time you create stories without evidence, you train your brain to do it more. But every time you pause, you weaken it. Every time you choose curiosity over assumption, you build a new pathway. Every time you name the emotion without dramatizing it, you rewire the pattern. So let's bring this back to you, right now, today. What's your drama pattern? Is it reading rejection into everything? Is it catastrophizing neutral situations? Is it absorbing other people's stress like it's yours? Whatever it is, you can interrupt it. Not by being perfect, not by never feeling triggered, but by creating that 3-second space between trigger and reaction. 3 seconds to name what you're feeling. 3 seconds to remember that your brain's first interpretation is often wrong. 3 seconds to choose response over drama. Your brain will always have that ancient wiring, but you don't have to let it run your life. You can acknowledge the trigger without obeying the reaction. You can feel the emotion without creating the story. Because the peace you're looking for isn't found by eliminating every trigger. It's found by changing how you respond to them. So the next time your brain tries to create drama from nothing, pause, breathe, name it, and watch how quickly the story loses its power. Because you're not your brain's first reaction. You're the pause that comes after. And in that pause, you'll find something your brain has been searching for all along. Actual peace.